My name is Finley, and I love to fight, is what maybe he would be saying if we were living in some alternate reality, WWE 2007 ruthless aggression type era, but today, it's a little bit of a slow news day, and that's to be expected. You know, it's a Saturday. The Olympics are starting up. I'm watching some alpine skiing on my TV screen in front of me as I record this video. But we are talking about the only piece of actual NHL movement that we ended up seeing earlier this morning, as Jack Finley, out of the Tampa Bay Lightning organization, has gotten claimed by the St. Louis Blues on waivers. And quite frankly, this is a pretty good piece of news. It's something that I think a lot of Blues fans are going to be excited for. There is some really nice representation going on here in St. Louis because Jack Finley is a St. Louis, Missouri guy, and he's a big, hulking dude that has made his name over the past few years because of those attributes. 6'6", 227, a right-handed center right wing. And there is so much to like out of Jack Finley in terms of the projectability here. Finley was a second-round pick, 57th overall, by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the scouting report here says that his projectable, at the time, 6'5", 207-pound frame, clearly stands out in a draft class that lacks sizable players. Finley just smothers the opposing center. He plays with a high motor, recognizes support opportunities, has the timing and awareness to deter shots, and intercept passes. He's also decisive without overcommitting. The thing about Jack Finley is the fact that his production in the WHL in his draft season was maybe not the best. He had 57 points in 61 games played. That's good. It's a huge improvement over what he had done the previous year, but sub-point per game, you're probably not a first-rounder. It's why he got taken second round, and over the next few years, Finley really started to develop his game more and more. In the Winnipeg Ice system, in the Syracuse Crunch system, he had some games here and there with the Tampa Bay Lightning. 22 games played this season and 3 points. Wasn't really the most productive, wasn't really the most utilized either. You can see some 6-7 minute games here and there. So Jack Finley got sent down on waivers yesterday. Today, he gets claimed by his hometown St. Louis Blues franchise. And there are a number of things that we could dive into that show off why this is a nice acquisition. Take a look at the STL Blues Muse post on Twitter, talking about how the Blues have claimed 23-year-old St. Louis native Jack Finley off of waivers. He was crap for the Lightning, but he has potential, so good luck for him. Solid waiver claim, 6'6", 227-pound right-shooting center. He's only 23, and he is a good get. And then you have Chris Pronger going out there and saying that he's worth a swing at this stage of the season. Traded away an older, bigger center iceman and get one for free. Let's see what Jack does with this opportunity. His dad, Jeff Finley, was my old D partner too. Welcome, Jack. That's some pretty good praise, and a nice little trivia fact from the old Chris Pronger going out there and sharing his wisdom on the situation. Jeff Finley's son sounds like a low-risk pickup, like the size, and he was a second-round pick. And ultimately, if you go over here, this is a pretty good summary of what Jack Finley is and could be. 22 games for the Lightning this season, scoring 2 goals. He has won 49% of his faceoffs this season and will get a chance to crack the Blues' bottom 6 and make an impact after the Olympic break. The Blues are expected to make multiple trades, including some of their big names up front, which could open up some more ice time for Finley down the stretch. Originally a 2020 second rounder, and before this season he had played 1 game last season, Finley is a product of the Western Hockey League, where he suited up for Spokane and Winnipeg. The Blues add Finley with 2 more seasons left on his ELC before he becomes an RFA. Considering his age, this is a great gamble by the Blues, who aren't destined for the playoffs this season and can see what Finley brings to the table in his last season audition. And what I think about when I think about the St. Louis Blues is the fact that they like to take bets on these younger guys. They're in a pretty crap spot in the NHL standings this season. We've been making videos about Robert Thomas and Justin Falk and these top-tier guys, Jordan Kyrou, potentially being trade options. There are other conversations to have about these other St. Louis Blues guys. You can say what you want about Pavel Buchnevich. You can talk about Dylan Holloway. There are a number of guys on the Blues that are underperforming this season, but when I think about this roster, I think about the young guys that they want to take swings on. Case in point, where is he? I gotta locate him here on the roster. Where is my guy, Jonathan Berggren? 25 years old. He's in St. Louis now, and he's doing pretty well. Didn't really do too much with the Detroit Red Wings, 6 points, 15 games. And now in St. Louis, okay, he's got 8 points in 20 games. Admittedly, roughly the same point production. It's not like what he did last year, though. 24 points in 75 games with Detroit. Yeah, no, Berggren is a lot streakier than I think he was at the beginning of the St. Louis Blues tenure that he had. 4 points in 3 games was a great way to make a first impression. But Jonathan Berggren is one example of these kinds of guys that are just getting their shot with St. Louis. You have Dalibor Dvorsky, 20 years old. Dylan Holloway is still 24. Jake Neighbors is a stud. Jimmy Snuggerud, too. Love to see all the production out of Jimmy Snuggerud. And then on D, you have Logan Mailloux, who hasn't really worked out, but at the very least, the Blues are giving him an opportunity. They want to see it work. Jack Finley looks like he could be coming over and executing a similar type of projection, development path, whatever. If you head over to the Elite Prospects Scouting Report Guide all the way back in 2020, it goes out there and talks about how Finley was a pretty reasonable bet to take somewhere in the middle rounds. He was a C-grade prospect with a 7 out of 10 physical rating. And while that isn't really the best, at the end of the day, he is an NHLer. He's worked his way up. Most players that get drafted in the NHL drafts don't ever see NHL ice. And Jack Finley was able to play 20 games on a really good Tampa Bay Lightning team this year. So this is a new playground for Jack Finley and his NHL career. He had been developing well in the AHL. He'd been able to produce and use his physicality to get him up to higher levels of play. But now with a St. Louis squad that is probably going to see some other guys get shipped out soon. Okay, why is Nick Bjugstad here? He just got traded to New Jersey. This is exactly what I mean. It's not even updated yet. Yeah, Nick Bjugstad is out. You could potentially see something going on with a Robert Thomas or a Jordan Kyrou. Maybe Braden Shen's name continues to go out there. He's 34 years old. Does he really want to go? Maybe, if he wants to win a cup. There's enough room for younger dudes to play in St. Louis, especially for a team that, at the moment, is near the bottom of the NHL standings. Can we take a look at this? Yeah, St. Louis, they are dead last in the Central Division with 49 points in 57 games played. Only Vancouver has fewer points than St. Louis this season. It's not looking good for them. So with all that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Jack Finley, local St. Louis kid, going back over to St. Louis and the Blues? This is a big opportunity for a big dude and an untapped potential prospect, I would say, for the long haul. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.